For our third mask, we're going to be working on our Commedia mask. So this is a paper mache mask. The first step in it is your sketch and your research. So we've given you all 3 characters. You've chosen your character. I've chosen Capitano. Done a sketch from another mask. Remember, since these are masks that have been used over and over again, it's okay if you look at one that's already been made. You can use it as a reference. So here's my sketch, my front view, my side views. You can see my nose here, and then either view from the top or the bottom. And once you've completed that part of the assignment, you are ready to go for your sculpt. So what you're going to need for the first part is your mask form here. This is just a plastic 3-dimensional form that allows you to build on top of it. It's really actually pretty sturdy. You can press fairly hard on it, which is what we need. And then you're also going to need your clay. And so this is a Crayola oil-based modeling clay. Found it works really, really well because it's still quite firm, but you can manipulate it also. So there's a couple different ways that you can start. I like to start with the nose. So one thing you can notice on the Capitano's nose is that it comes out and then it kind of curls up at the end. I'm gonna make my nose, the best way to start it, instead of using all the clay, is to use aluminum foil. So I just got a really big piece of aluminum foil, and now I'm gonna crumple it up, kind of into that shape that I was looking at. The nice thing about aluminum foil is that it's pretty inexpensive. It's very light, and so if for some reason we can't pull all this clay out of your paper mache mask or this aluminum foil, it'll stay really, really light. So I'm looking at my sketch, I'm looking at the shape that I'm creating. It needs to have a hump. Don't worry, because we can always fix it. If it's too big, you can kind of smush it down more. If you don't have aluminum foil, you can use, I've had people use paper and masking tape. It's just hard. There's not quite enough clay to make the whole nose out of clay also. So we do it for material reasons, but then we also do it because it can be quite heavy if we can't pull all of this out in the end. And I'm trying to flatten the end, or at least get a divot in the middle here, because when I stick it, that will actually push down on the mask a little too hard. So I'm using my thumb to create an indentation so it can sit on that mask form a little bit easier. And remember, these are half masks, so you want to make sure that your mouth is not covered because you'll be speaking, and we want to be able to hear you talk and hear all your words. So you can see here I'm kind of working on the nose in this way. Let's see if I can get it to come up. If I can't get it to come up anymore, I could add some more aluminum foil to the top here. But it might be pretty good. There's a divot right here. So I am gonna add a little bit more foil. So I'm adding more foil. The nice thing is aluminum foil is so easy to tear. If you got too much, you can just take it off. I'm filling in that little divot that I saw there that I wasn't in love with. And I'm just going to kind of wrap that excess back around. Let's see what it looks like now. I'm going to press these sides in. I just like the way that looks, because then you sort of have that nostril shape over here. Now I just need to work on getting a little bit more even. The nice thing about these characters is they're comedic. This is comedy, remember, so they definitely don't have to be perfect per se. Try and get a little bit of symmetry here. This is what it looks like from the front. Here's what it looks like from the side. So it has that little bit of curve. And I can, if I want to, I could add a little bit more aluminum foil right here to make that curve go up. I've got some right here. And that might be enough too, that I could probably do that with the clay. you don't like it, you can start over. Really, really easy. So same thing, if this were just paper, you know, crumple it up, use tape to tape it together. Let's see, I don't know if I love that, but it's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work either way. Oh yeah, I think that'll work. Let's make sure it still sits right here, sort of, kind of. There's quite a bit underneath. Let's see what it looks like from the side. Let's see if I can flatten this at all. And then the one big thing too when you're building this, you want to make sure the nose sticks out from the face. So I'll show you how to get this stuck on here in a minute, but you want to make sure the nose doesn't go down like this. One, it'll be too hard to perform and it looks kind of strange. You want to make sure your nose is straight out. So when this mask is down on your hard surface, it'll come straight out at you. All right. When you are starting with your clay, you're going to make mostly two different forms. You're either going to make a snake or a pancake. And you've probably done this before if you've played with Play-Doh or any other type of clay. Those are kind of two basic things you use in hand building. So they already come in these little snakes, but this might and usually is too thick. So to get this thinner, you can roll it out with your hands. And just apply even pressure all the way out. And it, like here, if this part is too thick, then you just can apply more pressure there. Some people like to use their hands. I don't know. I like using the table. It just gives me a harder surface to press against. Pretty good, pretty good. And that's about how skinny I want it. Because this is going to help me apply the nose to the face. My cute little nose bump keeps falling off. So we might just leave that off for now. You are going to cover it. Okay, so I'm going to attach this to my nose. And I'm going to take the snake and I'm going to run it all the way around the outside of the nose. And so that will help us give us something to stick to. And then now what I'm gonna do, this might be a little tricky to see. See if I can turn it to the side. Is you're gonna want to smush the snake down to the mask and then up onto the nose. So I'll do it all the way around here real quick. And I'll show you what I have. And we will be adding more clay. This is just to get sort of the initial stuck on this of your mask. And you could also, so say at this point, you know, you get this on and you realize you don't like the way the nostrils look. You could add more nostrils on here. The nice thing about the Commedia masks is they are exaggerated. Okay, so here now I can hold it up a little bit better and you can see. So I've taken that little snake and I've pressed it here. It needs to be pressed a little bit more up so it touches the aluminum foil, and then I've also pressed it down so it's covering the mask. That makes sense? Ta-da! Now I can actually pick it up. Look on it. Now if this were all clay, it would be so heavy. I probably wouldn't be able to do that. All right, so now that that's mostly stuck down, what you can work on is covering the nose. So the second shape that we're gonna make is called a pancake. So you're gonna take one of the snakes, usually start with. And the nice thing about this modeling clay is that it actually gets more pliable when it gets warm. So just the heat from your hands will help make it more moldable. Unless your hands are really freezing. And so I've kind of squished it and rolled it in between the palm of my hands, like kind of applying pressure And I've created a nice ball there. You can also use the table. I don't know, for that part I like using my hands. I feel like I get a better ball that way. So once you have a ball, then to get your pancake, all you do is I take this kind of round flat part of my hand and press it down. Kind of moving the palm of my hand around to flatten it out. And this is what's gonna go over on top and cover all of the aluminum foil. So you want it thin, but not too thin. This is where we're at right now. I'm gonna flatten it out just a little bit more. Partially because I know a lot of this is gonna go over the nose. And I'm gonna make sure I have enough modeling clay for the rest of my face. I guess what I could do instead is you could finish the rest of your face and then come back and do the nose, but whichever makes most sense to you. Okay, I think that's better. Now it's even starting to stick to the table a little bit. So very gently and carefully, because you could actually still knock this off of the face. Make it a little bit skinnier down here. I'm going to start putting it over where the aluminum foil is and just covering it. So when you're done with the nose, you shouldn't see any aluminum foil at all. So there's one pancake. I'm gonna make another bowl. So I'm getting towards the end of having my nose covered. I'm just taking the little bit that's left and sort of filling in the holes. And I wanted you to see that part. So I'm trying not to have the clay overlap too much when I put it down. And now you'll notice too, hopefully at this point, the clay will start to be kind of really malleable because it's got the warmth of your skin to heat it up. So I'm just covering any place that I can see aluminum foil, and that looks pretty good. And I look at it here, there's a little part there, and that's what the nose is looking like right now. It's getting there. You could, I think it could use even more, as long as you're careful. Do some bending. So there, I just create a little bit more of a hump. Remember, I took that one piece off up here, so I need to build up just a little bit of clay on the top. But what you could start working on is now smoothing, because when we're done with this sculpt, this clay sculpt, the next step is going to be the paper mache. And any bump that you see, like here where I've got the two pancakes on top of each other, any bump that you see is going to show up in your paper mache. So the smoother you have this now, the smoother it's going to look later. So I would spend some time anywhere you see two seams kind of come together, smooth it out, or even if there's like a big lump there from the aluminum foil, just see if you can work that clay a little bit to get it smooth. I'm going to work on the nose for a little bit and then show you what I've got when I'm done. So while I'm smoothing it, I'm trying to be really careful about how I hold it, because you can create more indents in this type of clay if you're not careful. So I try and get it close to done now, because it gets harder once we have all the other stuff on the forehead, like your forehead wrinkles and whatnot. So I try and get the nose most of the way done. I just have to be really careful If you're like me, typically also I have fingernails, jewelry. So sometimes I like to take all that off while I'm working, just because that can leave imprints. The fingernails, I try and keep them cut really short when I'm working with clay or sculpting, just because I find if I don't, I end up, sticking my fingernail in the clay. So if you like to have long nails or like to wear a lot of jewelry, it's just something you have to be aware of. So typically when I'm smoothing, I don't leave it set on the table. I do a little bit, but you can see here, like I'll kind of just brace it with one hand, kind of smooth it with the other. I go really slow because I like mine to be really smooth. People always say, how do you get your mask so smooth? Part of it is paper mache, making sure that's smooth, but part of it's this step of just, once you have the shape right and how you want it, it's just going back, and anytime you see like a little crack or a big lump, I just very slowly kind of push the clay one way, and if that doesn't work, then I push it the other way. And like right here, you might not be able to see, but I'm starting to get a little bit of aluminum foil sticking out. So I'm going to put make a little teeny tiny like pancake. I just pinched some off of my ball here and just kind of like a band-aid. Just put it over the top, smooth it out. It should be fine. The paper mache shouldn't stick to it, but I just like to make sure everything's really, really smooth. So with this part of the process, this is a great thing about being an artist and art homework, is I can sit here, I can either listen to a podcast or I can put on a TV show and kind of zone out for a while. This is the kind of homework I like to do. Can't really read, but I listen to books through Audible or the library, and that's another thing. So I can kind of multitask and shut my brain off a little bit while I'm working. So I just slowly go over the whole piece, inch by inch, smooth everything out. I start at first a little heavier hand, and then as I get closer to smooth, I get much lighter, a lot less pressure. And you can work on this. It doesn't all have to be done at one time. What I like to do though is with my open clay, it is oil based, so it shouldn't dry out completely, but I just like to keep it in a Ziploc bag or wrap it with foil or saran wrap or something to keep it nice. Some of the colors I found do dry out faster than others, just probably that's to do with the pigments that are in them. So I'm gonna work on this a little bit more, get it to where I feel like it's complete. I always find that this part down by the face is the hardest, so I'm just gonna go slow, and then I'll show you all the next step. So once you have the nose on and it's all smoothed out, the next step is to work on parts of the face. So I'm going to start first with the eye openings. And what I did is I took one of the bigger snakes, I rolled it out to make a smaller snake. And what I'm going to do is this more or less is going to be defining the eye shape. And I'm going to go bigger than the almond shape that's on the eye, only because I know that that eye opening is so small that it's just not going to work. So I can pinch a little bit off there, do this, and now it's up to you, and you can decide this now, or you can decide this before you start your paper mache. But this eye opening, if you're going to include the snake when you're making the mask, or if you want to stop your paper mache, before the eye opening. A lot of times I include it. So when I'm doing the paper mache, so we're putting a layer of paper and glue on top, I'll stop right here. So that way I have a nice kind of more or less eyelid to work from. But now you'll notice I have that snake on there. It's pretty wiggly. It really doesn't want to stay. And so it's up to you where you want to smooth it out. You can smooth it and kind of attach that snake on the inside and the outside, or just on the inside or just on the outside. So it depends on what you want your mask to look like. So if you want this kind of really big defined shape there, you might not want to press it down too much on the outside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up. I know I'm going to build up right here, this ridge. So I'm going to press it down on the inside. Before I get too attached here, I'm going to go ahead and make my second eye shape, just so I can keep some of the symmetry there. Before I get too far in. So I'm just pinching off my snakes. The nice thing is if this doesn't look good, just take it off. You know, roll it back up into another ball and you're good. So now I'm gonna look at it here. Kind of hard because my light's coming in from the side. I'm gonna open this eye up just a little bit more. Great. And now I'm gonna work on pressing the eye down so it doesn't wiggle. Now that I have the eyebrow ridges up there, I know for when I'm doing my paper mache, I'm gonna need a base underneath them just so they don't collapse. So I'm just making a couple of snakes to go underneath, just to help support that structure a little bit and to make my life easier when I'm doing the paper mache. Ooh, but one thing I just noticed, so this doesn't look like my sketch, but I kind of like how it looks. So I like having that second eyebrow ridge in there. We can call it whatever we want. It can be, maybe it's a wrinkle, maybe it's, I don't know. And that's the nice thing, you know, our sketch is just a starting point. So as you're working and as it's evolving, if you make something and find that you like the way that looks better, keep it. I'm just smoothing out some of these edges here. This side looks pretty good. Bring this one down a little bit. And now I know from doing the paper mache work before, I might have a little bit of a hard time, you know, getting a ton of detail in right here, but we're gonna try it. Why not, right? That's what I have so far. That looks pretty good, I think. Now I know for my sketch here, I'm gonna do just some kind of little V's that come in. And then I may or may not do the last piece at the top. It might just be too much. So, and so far you can see I've only used one packet of clay. Just good. So the way I had this is about, it's a little skinnier than a pencil. It's about the smallest size of snake that I do for this type of mask. Not too shabby. I'm just gonna lay it on there for a minute just so I can see what it looks like. Play with it a little bit. Remember, it's just clay, so if you don't like it, take it off. You can do it again. I'm gonna take my rings back off here because they're leaving marks in the clay. Okay. So I've got a whole nother snake done here. Capitano is a funny guy. Up, and then I have it looping back down around on this side a little bit. So we'll snip it off there. It's okay. I'm gonna try moving these snakes around. Seeing what that looks like. I might just have to change the design totally. I was thinking, what if I had one higher or lower than the other? Let's see what happens if we lower this one. It's okay. I don't know. It's not my favorite. So, we're gonna just take that off. And this is where, since I'm not sure what I want to do, I might take a look at some pictures, you know, take a break, step away from it for a minute. A lot of artists, you know, you're staring at the same thing for a really long time. So sometimes you just need to take a mental break. So, as I looked at some more pictures, decided I like the repetition and these eyebrows, and just having that, you know, shape repeated over and over. It gave my character a little bit more strength. So now I'm just working on smoothing it out, trying to get them to look more connected. It might be too much. Because we want to think about too, okay, so the mask is going to come all the way down here to the bottom of the cheeks. Because remember, it needs to stop before it gets to the mouth. But then we have all of this space up here that we're going to need to activate, whether that's with three-dimensional qualities like the snakes. You can do it some with the paint later on when we're finishing it. It still is going to need something here. Like I know a lot of Capitanos have this kind of that might be it for the forehead. So I have this little loop, little snaky loop that I'll need to press down and into the mask here a little bit, just so it doesn't wiggle when I'm putting the paper mache on. It's good too to look at things from the side, you know, just to see, okay, how far is that gonna stick out? And we'll have to get our fingers in between these two pieces of clay also when the paper mache is going in. So that's something to be aware of, that I like to leave about a finger's width distance if there's any space or gap, because I know later on I'm gonna have to get my finger right there in that space to push the paper mache down in. So what we're doing right now is we're creating a structure that this paper and glue is going to go on top of. So if I would have just put the paper mache on this mask form, it would have looked exactly like this mask form. So for this mask, essentially you guys are sculpting. So you're sculpting this three-dimensional form with your clay to create interesting shapes, interesting forms, and to really help bring your character to life. So that looks pretty good. The other thing I do know that I saw over here on my sketch is that I did have some kind of cheeks that were built up. So about right here, be really close to my eye, which is fine. So I'm gonna make some take one of these snakes, break it in two so they're somewhat equal. Make 2 balls, one for each cheek. This one's a little smaller, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more to it. Okay, so now to do the cheeks, again, remember we want to stay up above the mouth area. So I'm going to put it kind of like right where the apple of the cheeks are. I think. Should I leave that? No. And then I'm going to kind of press, I'm going to press the whole thing down because they stand up quite a bit. Just gently. And now we can kind of press down, smooth it around. So it does look more like a cheek and less like a clown nose stuck on the cheek area. This is where you have to be careful. So I just dented my nose with my fingernail. So watch out for any doctoring you might have to do up in a minute. And that might have been too much clay. So if it is, we can always take it out, scrape it out. But I'm gonna kind of move it around. I'm gonna move the cheek so it wraps around the face a little bit because I don't have anything really over here on this side. I don't want it to just be flat and unactivated. And so this is another good time where if you do it to one side, you know, you should kind of move over and try and do it to the other side as well. So start pressing down. Trying to be careful, you know, making sure you can get hopefully a finger or something in there later for paper mache. And you'll notice I'm turning and I'm looking. I don't ever work from one direction for a really long time. When you're working with something that's 3-dimensional, you have to be really aware of what it looks like from every side. And that's what we're doing. I mean, a mask is a piece of sculpture. It's just one you wear on your face. It's fine. You'll notice I've got dog hair all over my mask. My dogs are shedding. My dog is shedding, so it's okay. It'll be fine. So this one's a little bit more ovally, but it's nice because the mask will come up a little bit in that area, give it some more character. So what I need to think about now is, do I want anything to come like through the side here? What should that look like? So that's my next step. Anything else happening up here? Yeah. My sculpt is done. You can see in the next video that I did end up adding another forehead wrinkle because after a day or two, it just felt like it needed something else. The next step is you're gonna need to mix up your paper mache paste 24 hours in advance of when you're gonna use it. So it might be good right now to go ahead, look at the handout, read the instructions of mixing up the art paste and doing that, so that way you're ready for the next step.